Hey guys, it's Viejo here, and it is the third week of April in 2024. Hope you got your taxes done, got lots of money back, got some to go spend on some new pew-pew toys. Not me, I paid. Oh well. Hey, this is chapter 4 of part 3 of our video series on the 45 ACP 230 grain round nose bullets and the pertinence of using data from Lee's reloading manual for just any old bullet. And what we're looking at today is the RCBS 225 round nose. Here's what the bullet looked like as cast. And we're taking these, loading them up with a powder charge that I thought was going to be safe based on my experience, not necessarily based on what was in this book, to see what would happen if we just took the same charge to all of these bullets. And I got now 9 cast bullets, 2 jacketed bullets, and 2 plated bullets that are going to be in the series. So we've got quite a few that we're going to check. And the first 2 parts of this series, I'm going to link, actually I'll link to the whole playlist, and parts 1 and 2 kind of explain the setup and show you all the components and stuff we're doing. But basically we loaded them all the same dies, all the same charge, same press, everything the same, shot them all out of the same gun, my Kimber stainless 2 1911 45 ACP, to keep everything as close as possible, all Lee dies. Okay. And just to sort of see what the differences are going to be if we do that, if we just take a charge and use that charge for any old bullet, not knowing what it is in that Lee data set. So watch those first 2 segments if you're not sure what we're up to here. I kind of want to address a couple of questions that have come up as we've gone along here. One subscriber says, "Hey, wait a while, isn't there a cast bullet handbook from Lyman that has all of those bullets in there?" No. Well, there is a cast bullet handbook from Lyman, but of all the 9 different cast bullets that I'm using for this test series, only one is found in the Lyman book, and that's the Lyman 452374 bullet. But the rest of them aren't there. So again, you're kind of up against it there to sort of figure out, what you're going to do as far as a powder charge and an overall length. And as we're going to see, almost all of these bullets that we're using here are going to require a different overall cartridge length in order to function properly. Okay? And Lee's manual only gives about 3 different COALs for you to pick from, and you don't know which bullet they're talking about, right? So that you can go watch those first 2 parts if you want to, where we talk more to that. So that was one question that came up. Another question was regarding the Lee data set. What if you just use the starting weight? Would you be good to go for any bullet, of that weight, regardless of style? And I think that meant, semi-wide cutter versus round nose, plated versus cast. And the answer is kind of not really, because they're gonna require different seating depths, which is going to change pressures in the case. And they're going to function differently. You just can't be assured that if you pick a starting weight that it's going to work at all for any given bullet. For one thing, they may not even cycle your semi-auto firearm, right? Okay, so I think that starting weights mostly would be safe but they wouldn't be fine as far as performance goes necessarily. And again, as I said, they might not even cycle your gun. So you're going to have to do your own workups is what we're going to end up cooking this down to, using our, safe practices for working up a reasonable and safe load for that particular bullet, if you don't know what that bullet is that you've got a hold of and you can't find data for it anywhere else, either from one of the other reloading manuals or from the bullet manufacturer or from the powder manufacturer. Okay, a lot of times you can find that particular bullet there, okay, and get good data. All right. Let's see. Oh, another question that came up is all of these bullets that I cast up, I use different powder coats, and the question was, what are the best powder coat colors? That's a big question because there's lots of really good ones out there. It's easier for me to say which ones would I stay away from. Most of the solid colors seem to do pretty well, regardless of manufacturer. Eastwood, Prismatic, Columbia, okay. Any of those guys seem, and there are others, those are not the only ones, but the solid colors seem to work pretty well. Ones that I stay away from are whites and yellows. Those seem to be problematic, and any of the ones that are translucent colors don't seem to be as good of performers as some of our solids. So there, it's probably a safer question to ask about a specific color. Say, hey, Viejo, have you ever used this one? What do you think? And if I've used it and I got an opinion, I'll tell you. But most of you have seen enough of my casting videos and looked at the different colors that I use, and there's some good ones out there. And another comment that came up that's probably important to address here is about where I'm seating those bullets. And somewhere along the line I had mentioned that I tend to seat them to just slightly below where the ogive departs away from the shank of the bullet. In other words, maybe a fingernail's thickness down from there to put the case mouth. And the comment was about, well, why don't you seat so that the ogive is all the way right down at the case mouth? And that's because we're using range brass untrimmed, and the cases are all slightly different lengths. And if you seat right to the ogive, if you get a case that's a little bit longer, then as you try to crimp a little bit to get rid of that case flare, you may start bending the case mouth over toward the ogive, get what I'm saying, and kind of roll it over a little bit, and that's going to interfere with your head spacing. And this 45 ACP head space is on the case mouth, and if that case mouth is bent in, then it's not gonna bottom out against that shoulder that's in your chamber there. Okay, so I like to seat it just a little bit below that to account for that situation where you might get a little bit longer case. Okay, so here's just a quick clip of playing up here in the picture-in-picture of what those bullets look like, all loaded up and ready to go. But let's go ahead and cut in a little bit of the shooting footage here. We did the same as what I've been doing. I shot 2 magfuls, 14 rounds at one target. The targets that you see, the black circles, those are 4-inch targets. This particular one didn't do that well for me. Could have been mostly me, but none. I mean, they were okay, but our standard deviation was 18, and so there was quite a bit of variation from round to round, even though the average was in there at 835 feet per second. But let's go watch the range footage and then come back. RCBS 225 RN.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I just heated it up. So these came with the gun, these are the ones I bought later.
Okay.
Oh, I think 20 to 18 or something like that.
And in here we've got 14 rounds with the RCBS 225. Okay, got a good bunch in there, but still some flyers. That's mostly me, guys, as you know. Okay, here we are with the RCBS 225. Here's our overall length. Okay, the bullet actually weighed 231, so pretty close concert with these other first four. Note the overall seating length. Okay, it's a little bit longer nose bullet than that Lee, but it's kind of up there with these others. Okay, and yet we had to seat it quite a bit longer. The powder charge gave us 835, again, right in the range that we're looking for, but look what happened with standard deviation. Okay, clearly not as good a performer as the first three. Okay, so there's how the shooting went. And I wasn't all that thrilled with the performance on the target. The round itself did okay as far as feeding through the firearm. There were no hiccups or anything like that. The overall length seemed to agree with the magazine and so forth. The standard deviation of 18, though, okay, compared to the first three that we've done, okay, this one was quite a bit crummier. The average velocity was right where I had wanted it to be, and I think we're going to see that through all of the cast bullets. That's probably going to be a little bit different with the jacketed and plated bullets that we're going to test, but we'll, time will tell. We'll see. So there you go. That's it for this one. Next week we're going to look at the other RCBS bullet that we did, the 45-230 RN, but from the Viejo bench. For now, that's all she wrote.